All right, we're about to dig into a really profound idea from the Hindu tradition about what it means to heal the soul. But fair warning, it starts with a concept that might just flip everything you think you know about being broken or needing to be fixed. So let's just jump right in with a question that gets to the very heart of it. What if your soul isn't broken? Seriously, what if it never was and it never, ever could be? Just hold on to that thought because it's the key to everything we're about to explore together. And this is where it gets really interesting. See, a lot of the time, especially in the West, we think of healing as fixing a flaw, right? Like gluing a cracked vase back together. But the Hindu view suggests something totally different. It's not about repair at all. It's about removing a veil built hiding the perfection that's already there, that's always been there. So that leads us right into our first big idea, this foundational concept of a perfect soul that's simply hidden from our everyday view. At the very heart of all this is a concept called the Atman. The simplest way to think about it is as your true essential self. And according to Hindu philosophy, this Atman is inherently pure. It's eternal. It doesn't change. It's completely separate from your physical body, from the thoughts buzzing around in your mind, and even from the intellect you use to solve problems. So you might be thinking, okay, if the soul is so perfect, where does all the suffering come from? And that's the million-dollar question, right? Well, it all comes down to a fundamental case of mistaken identity. The problem isn't the soul itself. The problem is that we constantly misidentify with our temporary, always changing body and mind. We get confused and think the container is actually what's inside. And it's this case of mistaken identity that creates those veils we just mentioned. So for this next part, let's actually pull them back one by one and see what these so-called veils of suffering really are. So Hindu thought lays out 5 main culprits, 5 causes of spiritual suffering that act like these veils. You've got avidya, which is ignorance. There's karma, the whole law of action and consequence. Then moha, our attachment to things and people. Ahankara, which is the ego, our sense of I, me, mine. And finally, kama, or desire. All 5 of these work together to create this kind of fog that keeps us from seeing clearly. But here's the thing. Among those 5, one of them is considered the big one, the root of all the others, and that's avidya, or ignorance. Now, this isn't just about not knowing a fact, like who was the 3rd president. No, this is a deep, fundamental misunderstanding of reality itself. It's the failure to recognize our true self, the Atman. Every other kind of suffering is basically seen as an offshoot of this one core illusion. Okay, so we've mapped out the problem, we know what the veils are and what's causing them. So how in the world do we start lifting them? Well, that brings us to the really practical part of this whole thing, the 4 paths to clarity. And what I think is so brilliant about this approach is that it's not a one-size-fits-all deal. It recognizes that we're all wired differently. If you're an active, hands-on person, there's karma yoga, the path of selfless action. If you're more of an emotional, heart-centered person, there's bhakti yoga, the path of devotion. For the thinkers and the intellectuals, there's jnana yoga, the path of knowledge. And for those who are naturally meditative, there's raja yoga, the path of mental discipline. Think of it like 4 different doors that all lead into the exact same room. But here's the key. These paths don't exist in a vacuum. You don't just, do them for an hour a day and that's it. They have to be built on the foundation of how we actually live our lives, moment to moment. So let's look at how this all translates into the practice of living. And that foundation has a name, dharma. The best way to think about it is like an ethical compass for your life. It's this whole set of moral principles, things like truthfulness, nonviolence, self-restraint, that create the stability you need to do this deep inner work. I mean, it makes sense, right? An ethical life quiets down all the inner conflict, and that makes the mind clear enough to finally see the truth. And Dharma is supported by a whole toolkit of things you can actually do. You can see how it all connects here. It starts with internal work, like meditation and mindfulness, to build awareness. It uses tools like mantra to focus the mind, and yoga and breath work to harmonize the body. But it also looks outward, to learning with a spiritual community, a satsang, and consciously practicing detachment. These aren't just empty rituals. They are the daily nuts and bolts of rewiring our habits to line up with our deepest spiritual goals. So, where does all this lead? After all the work of identifying the veils, choosing a path, living an ethical life, what's the destination? Well, that brings us to our final section, and it's a big one, the goal, which is nothing less than ultimate freedom. This ultimate freedom is called moksha, and it's huge. It's liberation from what's known as samsara. that endless cycle of birth, death, and rebirth, and all the suffering that comes with it. It is the final, total lifting of that veil of ignorance. It's the moment you finally truly see. But what does that actually feel like? I mean, it sounds pretty abstract. I love how our source material puts it, though. It gives us this incredible glimpse, describing moksha as a state of absolute freedom, a deep and unshakable bliss called ananda, and this profound sense of being one with everyone and everyone. And here is maybe the most inspiring part of this entire idea. This isn't just some far-off goal you have to wait for in an afterlife. This state of liberation, which is called jivan mukti, is considered completely achievable right here in this lifetime. It can become your lived moment-to-moment reality. How amazing is that?
So really, when you boil it all down, the whole journey isn't about becoming someone new or better or fixed. It's just about remembering. It's about finally realizing who you have always been underneath all the noise. And that leaves us with one last question, a personal one for you to think about. What's hiding you from yourself?